You blew it!
Oh, my God. There's so much blame to go around for the Denver Broncos. Ultimately, this soundbite's from last year, but I still think it works for this season and how it ends.
Sometimes you eat a shit sandwich.
They did eat a shit sandwich. The Denver Broncos lose to the Patriots. Let's go ahead and dive into this sports section. Here we go. Buckle up. Ooh, we're going to hear from a lot of guys. Here we go.
He's walked the hallowed grounds of Folsom Field, Coors Field, and Mile High Stadium.
He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes.
It's time for Sports with DeHuff.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos lose to the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Jarrett Stidham. I know Sean Payton was hyping us all up. I bought into the hype. I did. And there were some glimpses of, oh, shit, Sean was right. He had that 52-yard bomb. Wasn't that to Mims? That was the Broncos' longest play of the game, by the way. The longest play by any team, by either team, 52 yards. And that was the second drive of the game for the Broncos. And Stidham ends up finding Cortland Sutton a play or two later in the back of the end zone. Looked like the Broncos were going to run away with this. It did. Then in the second quarter, they opt to go for it on 4th and 1. They're well within field goal range. At the time, the bad weather hadn't rolled in. And instead of running, they roll out, and Stidham almost throws an interception. But either way, points just left on the field. And the Broncos never recovered from that. And to be honest, I'll get into the Twitter poll in regards to who's going to take the majority of the blame for this loss with the Denver Broncos. I gave 3 options. Is it Stidham? Was it Sean Payton? Or was it? I can't remember the last one. But either way, we'll get into that. Okay. The biggest issue, like I said, in my mind, is Sean Payton didn't kick that field goal. Instead, he decides to go for it on 4th and 1. As it happened, I'm on social media this morning, and I see Tyler Columbus, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 50 offensive lineman, and he asked the question, subtracting hindsight, were you excited? Did you believe that was the right choice when he did it, or did you think he was making a mistake? This is what I said, because my wife was right there. I was like, oh shit, they're going for it. She says, oh, why would he do that? I was like, I guess it's fine if it works, but I don't really like it. I don't really like the idea. But then I said, if it works, that's great. It's ballsy, and it's going to be aggressive, and then they can end up, potentially scoring a touchdown. Okay? That makes sense. But I wasn't comfortable with the decision. Now, that being said, I didn't know it was going to end up snowing as much as it did. I knew it was supposed to snow. I didn't realize it was going to be that much. Because that was a very big mistake. The snow later moves in because they didn't convert the 4th and 1. And long and short of it, they go down. The Patriots do. They end up scoring. Drake May scores on a run. They end up kicking a field goal later too. Broncos end up missing 2 field goals, one of which was blocked. And it was just so frustrating, because even I don't have the sound, but Tony Romo's like, I don't really like this idea of kicking the field goal, because it came to bite them in the ass. The Broncos lost by 3 points. At the time, conditions were ideal for kicking a field goal. Wind hadn't really picked up. Snow didn't start plopping down. And then when he does go to kick a field goal again, the wind is a bitch. And then 2, The last one, I believe it was the last one. They're in the snow. You could hardly see the lines, and it just misses it. And the guy, one of the Patriot guys, tipped it. It was a very frustrating game. Here's Will Lutz, Broncos kicker, after the game.
My guess is, unfortunately, you couldn't see the lines on the field, and honestly, I think we might have been a yard short on the snap, but you can't see the lines on the field, and we had to kind of estimate, and guy comes through and it gets blocked.
I'm sorry, isn't that something that you guys could complain about in that situation to the refs? Be like, are we where we need to be? I can't see the hash marks. Could there be some sort of timeout to help with that? I feel like that's something that at least ask. And if they say no, they say no. But also, it's one of those things where I feel like that's your gig. You guys should know if you're where you need to be or not. And Lutz is somewhat making excuses for it. I'll tell you what, most of Broncos country is not happy with Will Lutz. I'm not really upset with Will Lutz, considering the conditions that they were playing in. Before we get into everybody else, if I'm going to point the finger, and I hate to say this, but my finger's pointed directly at Sean Payton. You kick the field goal, you get the points when you can get the points. The AFC Championship game is not the game that you want to be when you weren't really. I know Payton said that they had momentum. I didn't feel like you had enough momentum to whip your balls out like that. Because when they go for it on 4th and 1, I mean, come on. That didn't make sense. So I know a lot of people are pointing the finger at Will Lutz. I don't think that that's justified. But a lot of you are. Jarrett Stidham, though. Jarrett Stidham, yes, on that second drive, he made some good plays. After that, no. But let's hear from Stiddy. And then I'm going to give my thoughts on Stiddy in a second. But Stiddy, how much of his poor performance was due to the weather?
Yeah, look, I mean, the conditions are what they are. I mean, both teams were playing in it. So I think we only had a handful of plays in the third quarter when we were going into the wind that way. And in the fourth quarter, it was just back and forth, and trying to make plays. So, like I said, the conditions are what they are. I mean, both teams had to do it. So,
yeah, I don't, like he said, everybody had to deal with the same conditions. The only advantage is the Patriots had white uniforms and they blended in. So, but that's no excuse. Still no fucking excuse. Okay, the Broncos lost. Here's the thing with Stiddy. His backwards pass, shovel pass, whatever, was the worst attempt I have ever seen at a shuttle pass. It looked like somebody, I hate to say this, it looked like somebody that's never played football before. Yes, he's played a billion times more than I have, and he has a lot more skills than I do. But I'm watching that, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? It was like, oh, take the ball, take it. And it ends up going, I would have to see an aerial view of it, but, they're saying that ultimately, after replay, that it did go backwards. And, that's the one where the Patriots ended up scoring on, because the Patriots picked it up, but they blew the whistle. They should have scored on defense, but they blew the whistle. Patriots still get the ball, and then Drake May ends up running in for the touchdown. That was just a shitty play, a moronic play by Jarrett Stidham. That was terrible. Terrible. For somebody that is a professional football player, that looked like a pure panic. Oh, fuck. Dude, just no. If you can't securely and definitively throw it forward and try to, just throw it away. If you can't do that, just hold on to the ball, because a sack would have been better than you fucking punted it away. So those are two instances where I can firmly point the finger. Sean Payton not kicking the field goal, and then Stiddy with the stupid ass fucking shuttle, whatever, panic mode fumble. That's so fucking terrible. Terrible. I bought into the Stiddy hype. I did. And now I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. Here's Sean Payton talking with CBS in the bowels of Mile High Stadium after the loss.
And I said, look, man, I can't tell you anything that's going to change how you feel right now. We're proud of them. Man, they played hard. Wasn't good enough today. Wasn't good enough by us, myself. This is probably one of the closer teams that I've coached. And, you tell them you love them. And that's kind of about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's his message to the team. What are you supposed to say? We got close. We just didn't do it. The defense looked great, guys. Offense looked like shit, per usual. The offensive line was just... I know they're highly graded, but that was not a highly graded offensive line. They looked like shit. Not that it's a full excuse of why Stiddy didn't play well. It's just, it was terrible. It was terrible. RJ Harvey didn't have a good game. He's a rookie, still figuring shit out, but he didn't look good. And here's him talking with 9 News after the game on, really moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's going to remember this game. It's going to stick with us the whole offseason. Got to learn from it, be better. It's going to stick with us the whole year. So hopefully we back in this position next year.
That's the thing. Hopefully you'll be back. You got the Kansas City Chiefs, who are embarrassed for what happened to them this season. They're going to be back with a vengeance. They're not going to have 2 shitty seasons in a row. Most likely, the Kansas City Chiefs won't. So you're going to have a buzzsaw waiting for you. That is the Kansas City Chiefs. Windows of opportunity are only open for so long in the NFL and professional sports in general. This may have been the Broncos' championship opportunity, and it missed. Would the Broncos have won this game definitively if Bo Nix was there? I would say yes. But you can't, ifs and nuts and candies and butts, whatever. I don't know what the fucking saying is. But the thing is, you can say that. It's, I guess, in a weird way, fun to lean on that. But I would say that the Broncos win that game easily if Bo Nix was there. He wasn't. Instead, it was Stidham. And we bought into the hype that, it would be fine. That he was an equal, essentially, to Bo Nix. But that wasn't the case. It wasn't. Instead, you get a guy that had, 2 good passes, and the rest is, ick. A bunch of ick. But that being said, when you look at the numbers, Stidham he wasn't really that terrible. In comparison to Drake May, here's what's embarrassing. The Denver Broncos lose 10-7 in this game. Drake May had 86 yards passing. No touchdown passes, no interceptions, so that's good for him. He did not light the defense up. The Denver Broncos defense was money. The only time that the Patriots scored a touchdown was off of that turnover by Stidham. So that's what happened. Stupid plays are the reason why the Denver Broncos lost, not because of the defense. So Drake May had 86 yards passing. Stidham had 133. Not the best, but he did throw for 1 touchdown, had 1 interception. What really killed the Broncos was the rushing attack. The Patriots had 141 yards rushing. The Broncos had 79. Drake May had like 64 yards rushing, something like that. The Broncos got embarrassed. Their weaknesses finally caught up with them. I wanted them to win. I expected them to win. They just got beat by a better team. I know there's sound out there of Nick Bonito saying that the Broncos are a better team, and they lost. They lost to the worst team. You did lose to the worst team. But it's not because of the defense. The Broncos' offense was just there. They weren't good enough. So looking at the Twitter poll, I said, who takes the majority of the blame for the Broncos' loss to the Patriots? Sean Payton, Will Lutz, Jarrett Stidham. Those are the only 3 I put up there. Will Lutz is only at 6.9%. I agree with that. Jarrett Stidham, 16.2%, which means Sean Payton is taking the overwhelming majority of the blame for this one at 76.9% for the loss. Looking at some of the reaction from individuals on Twitter, JR Slick said Payton's play calling sucked, but Stiddy was shitty and Lutz was a putz. Okay. K-Train wrote, lots of blame to go around, but if Stidham doesn't make one of the absolute worst plays I have ever seen, Patriots never scored a touchdown. Amen, K-Train. Yes. B wrote, this is on Sean, not taking the 3 really hurt. To call that dog shit play, hope the media calls him out for that garbage. I haven't tuned into the local media for that. I know some of the guys are buddies. I know Schlereth is buddies with Sean Payton. I don't know if he's calling him out or not. But the thing is, you need to. It was a stupid play. I would safely say that the majority of Broncos country was like me going, wow, why? Do you need to do that? Do you need to be that hyper aggressive when you got a backup quarterback? Your run game's okay at that point. No. Which, by the way, RJ Harvey said something interesting. That's the first time he's played in snow. According to him, that's the first time he's played in snow. So that's a problem. Justin wrote, the correct answer is Lutz. That was some awful kicking, but Sean could have bailed him out and didn't. Instead of made some insanely dumb decisions. Given the weather conditions, Justin, I really don't want to point the finger at Lutz. It is such a finicky position. Wind is shit. It was swirling. You heard Tracy Wolfson talking about how it was swirling. And depending where you're at, it's blowing in your face or it's not. But depending on the field, it was swirling, and that causes problems for the ball, obviously. Aaron wrote, this game was over once he didn't take the points. Yeah, once that happened, that was a major deflating moment for the Denver Broncos. Steve wrote, honestly, a healthy Bo Nix wins this game. Tough conditions for kicking. Stidham made some good throws, just a few drops. Not taking the 3 hurts now. But let's be honest, this game was lost last week when Nix got hurt. Yeah. Bo played. But the thing is, Bo didn't play. He got hurt. The Broncos still had a chance. Okay, you subtract that moment where Sean Payton doesn't kick the easy 3. It's a completely different game. And then you subtract. I know we're doing a lot of subtracting here. We're doing math. We're doing football math. You subtract that, then you subtract Stidham's just god-awful turnover. And the Broncos got a shot. But they didn't. That didn't happen. And the Patriots, I look at that game, you can't say that the refs were in favor of the Patriots. You can't say that the Patriots lucked out. Yes and no, I guess. They lucked out because the Broncos made some stupid mistakes. Maybe that's the way you can look at it. That's the way they lucked out. Justin said, called a god-awful offensive game and wasted the 3 points that would have been the difference. Yes. Wilfredo said, you blew the call. Going for it and not taking the 3. Crazy with a backup QB to not take the points, and it cost you. Yes. Ted said, take the points, sir, please, and thank you. Climb higher. Have a good draft and free agency, coach. Thank you for the incredible ride this year. Respect from Alaska. Thank you, Denver Broncos. That's cool. Hi, Ted from Alaska. How are you? How are you? I want to go to Alaska. That would be fun. Everybody I've talked to that's been, they just have so many great stories. I don't know if I'd want to live there. Visit? Yes. Go on a fishing trip? Sure. That'd be great. Wrestle a bear? Probably not. Not on my agenda. Paul wrote, I look at it this way. The Broncos, with a second-year quarterback, was able to make it to the AFC Championship. Nobody thought the Broncos would go this far at the beginning of the season. Because of Bo Nix, the future is very bright for the Denver Broncos. They'll be back in the AFC Championship game again. There are some holes that need to be filled to alleviate this team, elevate this team to the next level. Specifically at wide receiver, Sutton is good, but they need another receiver to complement Sutton. I'm proud of what the Denver Broncos accomplished this season. That's well put, Paul. Sorry I butchered it. It's true. The Broncos did have a great season. Tip of the cap. The good news is it's not like you got your ass handed to you by the Patriots. It was a close game. Weird shit could have happened at the end and the Broncos win. You're waiting for that. At least I was. I was like, oh, it's not over yet. Maybe somebody fumbles. Next thing you know, Broncos pick it up and score. Because that's the season that the Broncos have had. Just a weird luck just plopping in front of them, and that's how they win. But the luck ran out for the Denver Broncos. They lost. I don't want to see all these stupid fucking bullshit influencers out there trying to get shock jock clicks. Well, the reason why the Broncos lost was because of this mystery. Why didn't they call this? Why blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Shut up. They lost. Fuck. Can't fucking stand it. That's what's wrong with today's sports. Everybody wants to, oh, it's not our fault we lost. The refs or the weather or somebody else fucked this up. You guys lost. Broncos, it sucks. Swallow the pill. You lost. You got to move on. If you want to move forward, you got to move past this game. Let it stew. Let it piss you off. Kind of like what RJ Harvey was saying. Let it fuel you. And come back next year and get better. Get better in the draft. Get better in free agency. Whatever you got to do. Fill the cracks. Get better. Come back and do it again. This time, advance to the Super Bowl. That's it. That's it. So, yeah, congratulations to the New England Patriots. I know that sucks. Don't like that organization, mostly because Robert Kraft is just kind of creepy as shit to me. You got to hand it to the coaching staff for the Patriots. They're young as far as, well, I shouldn't say that. Vrabel, nobody was expecting him to get to the Super Bowl this quick. Josh McDaniels is one of those guys that he's better off to be an offensive coordinator. Josh, stick with what you're doing. I don't know how many times I have to say that. You don't have to be a head coach to be great. And Josh McDaniels is a great example of that. Just stay an offensive coordinator. You're fantastic. You're Super Bowl bound so often when you do this. So, congratulations to them. Looking at the NFC side of things, LA Rams at Seattle Seahawks, it was a good game. It was a lot closer than I thought it would be. The dark side, the dark side defense of Seattle, which, by the way, holy crap, all the dark side Seattle Seahawk nerds out there, you either understand that I'm joking or you have no sense of humor at all, and you are so offended by the fact that I said I didn't like the dark side nickname for their defense. Then somebody brought up, they're like, why would they call themselves the dark side? The dark side always ends up losing in Star Wars. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even put that together. Jesus Christ. Somebody said, well, why don't you just call them Legion of Boom 2? Well, that's tacky. Kind of like the Orange Rush. I didn't like the Orange Rush. I forgot to bring that up. Somebody brought that up when I posted that video of me saying that I didn't like the dark side nickname. I'm like, yeah, the Orange Rush is lame too. Too close to Orange Crush. Come up with something new. Okay? Dark side, really fucking stupid. I'm sorry. But that being said, going back to the game, Seahawks beat the Rams. Sam Darnold is the storyline. I know a lot of people are going to be going, Drake May, congratulations to him. That's fantastic. Such a young fella going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, but he hasn't done jack shit in the playoffs. He beat they beat the Broncos. And he barely had 80 yards. He did have that rushing touchdown. Yeah, good for him. He almost had more rushing yards than he did passing yards, and he still had hardly any of both. The storyline is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold gets drafted by the Jets. He's there for 3 years. Goes to the Panthers for 2 years. Goes to the 49ers for 1 year. Goes to the Vikings for 1 year. And for some reason, they parted ways with him because he was doing pretty... Oh, I know why. Because they had J.J. McCarthy, the future. They had him. So they part ways with him. Then he goes to the Seahawks. This is his first year with the Seahawks, and he takes them to the freaking Super Bowl. That is a cool story. I'm irritated, disappointed that the Broncos aren't in the Super Bowl, but if I can set aside my allegiance for the Denver Broncos and look at this game, I'm going with Seahawks, man. One, I think they have a much better defense than New England, and they also, their defense is so good for the Seahawks, and the Patriots offense has just been jack shit in the playoffs. Why would I pick against the Seahawks? I'm seeing the Seahawks roll over the Patriots in this game. Great opportunity for Sam Darnold to just ultimately come back from, I mean, he was a joke at one point. He's just another traveling quarterback. Now look at him. He had a great year last year because he was playing with the Vikings. They had a good team. And then there's like, well, we got J.J. McCarthy. He's our future. Okay, fine. Seahawks pick him up. Seahawks get their hands on Sam Darnold, and then he takes them to the fucking Super Bowl. If he can win the Super Bowl, holy poop on a stick. That's we were talking about Disney movies. That's a Disney movie right there. It kind of in a weird way reminds me of Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner sacking groceries, people telling him that he should just give up football, and he's like, you know what? No. Forget that. I'm going to continue hammering out my dream. Next thing you know, boom, Hall of Famer. So I'm rooting for Sam Darnold in this situation. I think that's cool. And I have no ill feelings towards the Seahawks other than the fact that they beat the Broncos in Super Bowl 48, okay? Other than that, I don't have a problem with them. Continuing on with sports, did you guys see that Daredevil, the Skyscraper live show that was on Netflix, where this guy named Alex Honnold, I think that's how you say his name, he scaled a 1,667-foot skyscraper without any ropes. He's just free climbing. That shit's nuts to me. There was a point in time where he's really high up and he locks his leg into some feature that is on this skyscraper. And he locks his leg in there and he takes both hands off the building and puts his hand into the chalk bag. And I'm just sitting there going, no. I would freak out being one of the individuals on the floor that is seeing him crawl up the building. I can't do heights. I can do heights if I'm in the one time I had the opportunity to learn how to fly a helicopter, and there was no doors on it. But when you get to a certain height in a helicopter, you're secured in there. I wasn't terrified. But if I'm climbing a building, no. I've gone to the Grand Canyon and been somewhat close to the edge, and I feel like the edge is just trying to rip me over so it can just toss me down the cliff. I don't know how I don't know how you people do this when you're on the cliffs. My dad used to do that. I have one of his old carabiners, the things that you click on and it keeps you harnessed. Like he used to do mountain climbing like that. I guess he fell at one point and jacked up his knee and he had to have knee surgery. I'd have to ask my mom more about that. But I know there's a lot of people, especially here in Colorado, that are climbers somewhat like this. And you have to be lean. Like I can't do it. I'm not lean enough to do that because you have to have very low body fat, because if you're trying to pull up extra weight, it's just not going to work. And I got a little too much of that. Okay, you know what I mean? Right here in my tummy. I do. It's a special breed of person to do that. But here's what a lot of people will not admit when they watch this guy do the Skyscraper live thing, because it was allegedly live on Netflix. I'm watching it. It's giving me anxiety. But the reason I'm watching it is I'm secretly waiting for him to fall. I know that's fucked up. I know. It's like when I've gone to those alligator shows when I was in like South Dakota and they have some reptile place and they're, showing people the alligators and how they act, or crocodiles, whatever they were. Fuck, I don't know. And they're giving them meat and, doing that shit. You're secretly waiting, going, ooh, he almost got that dude's leg. Oh, God, so close. So close. You're just waiting for carnage. That's kind of this, too. You'd be like, oh, he fell. I should be looking away, but I'm just waiting. Are they going to follow him all the way to the ground? Type of thing. And I know that's terrible. That's terrible. Especially because the guy's married. I don't know if he has kids, but that's terrible to say. But it's honest. It's truthful. And don't sit there and go, oh, Duff, you're fucked up. That's messed up. Okay. How many times do you drive by a car accident on the interstate and you can't help but look? You're like, oh, fuck. That car is jacked up. Oh, shit. The ambulance is there, too. How many times have you done that? Oh, I've never done. Bullshit. Fucking liar. You're a liar. I don't believe you. I don't believe you one gosh darn bit. I don't. That's what I was waiting for. I'm like, oh, I'm waiting. I'm like, then my wife changed the channel. I'm like, fucking bitch. Then I'm like looking at my Twitter, be like, did he fall? I'm looking to see if he fell yet. Nope, no falling. I know it's messed up, but that's just reality. Okay? Okay. Am I going to go to hell for that? Probably. But you know what? I'll see you there. See you there. The Wienie 500, we talked about this last year at this time. It's right around May 22nd. And we actually played on the show the highlights from the Wienie 500. It's at the Indy 500. Here's the best clip ever.
The last thing anybody needs through there is a slippery wiener.
All the play-by-play guys are just trying to do dick jokes. That's the entire thing, right? And then one of the guys is like, oh, it says something about he's trying to catch up. And everybody's like, that's not that funny. And then they'll be like, slippery wiener. He just slipped through there. He saw a hole and he penetrated it. And everybody's like, that's how you do it, Todd. Come on, man. Get dirty with it. So they're going to do that again because it was so popular. Last year was the first time they did it. They're going to do it again. Like I said, it's going to be on May 22nd. I think it's fun. Why not? It's where they get all their wiener mobiles to go out there on on the track and race around. They can only go like 60 miles an hour or something like that. Now they got the slaw dog that represents southeast of the United States. The chai dog, Midwest. New York is east. Chile is south. Seattle is northwest. Then Sonoran, I think that's how you say it, dog, might be replaced. That's repping the Southwest. I think they could go with something different. Some of those I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they could change those up. But either way, it doesn't matter. I think it's a fun little thing. But like I said, when you watch it, it's all these like sexual innuendos. How many different ways can we make a dick joke? And I would love to see the broadcast booth as they're saying these things. How many times is somebody almost peeing their pants? That would be fun. That would be fun. But yeah, I like that. I thought that was a good little thing.
The last thing anybody needs through there is a slippery wiener.
Hey, speaking of slippery wiener, Scotty, Connery, stop. We had a good show. We did. We talked about the Broncos and how they need to move on, okay? I know, Scotty, but we are talking about a slippery wiener and made me think about your mother. Okay, stop. Enough. No. Anyway, guys. Hope you had a great day. Yes, as disappointed as I am with the Denver Broncos, you just got to move on. Don't be those people that just sit in the sadness or, you fall for the clickbait of, this is why the Denver Broncos lost. It's because the referees missed this. Because that was actually it was a forward pass. Guys, quit. Stop it. Move forward. Knock it off. It's just bullshit in the media. Usually it's the radio stations doing it. Now it's influencers dabbling in media, and they're like, well, I'm going to get 100 million views on this if I dissect this and be like, look, here, this. Maybe I should do that as a joke to see how fucking well it does. Be like, guys, I don't know if you noticed this, and I'll get like a Telestrator circle thing and be like, look, see, it actually, and then I'll like, the ball went this way, and I'll just purposely say the ball went forward when it didn't. Right? And they'll be like, Broncos got screwed. They should have won. Patriots, let's start a petition and have the Broncos go to the Super Bowl instead. Okay? Fuck. God. Just get over it. Your team lost. Learn how to lose. Okay? I know that sucks. It sucks to lose. But if you want to get better, you got to learn how to lose in order to learn how to win. Fuck, man. It starts as a kid, and you should learn from it. And part of me wonders, a lot of these people that are bitching and complaining that the Broncos lost or their team lost and didn't advance, blah, blah, blah. Did you ever play sports? Shit happens. A lot of the times, it's out of your hands. Control what you can control, and that's it. You're going to have bad calls no matter what sport you're in, no matter what level you're in. You either win or you lose. I always say this to the team when I coach. Take the umpires out of the game. If it's close, swing at it. Do what you can do. Go out there, hold the bat properly, swing properly. Do what you can do. Don't put it in their hands. If you just sit there and let it go by and you don't even swing at it, you're not going to hit it. And there's a chance that they're going to go, well, that was close enough. Strike 3, you're out, type of thing. Don't put it in their hands. And the way you combat that with the Bronco game, Stiddy, don't throw a moronic fucking shuttle pass that looks like you just defecated in your trousers. Like, get it away. Oh my God. Do you see the big guy coming at me? Holy cow, good thing I got rid of that. Oh, it's their ball? Oh, fuck. Oh, farting. And then Sean Payton, you better learn from this shit. Take the points. Okay? Next season, somebody needs to be in the stands every single game with a poster board that says, take the points, Sean. That's it. Doesn't need to say anything else. Take the points. Every single game. That's all I want. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Really do appreciate it. Whether you're listening or watching, make sure you subscribe, interact with the show if you can. It is the DeHuff Uncensored Sports section. This weekend, no football. I guess next week you have Pro Bowl shit, which is weird, but I don't know. Somebody asked me today, got an email. They're like, are you going to the Super Bowl this year? I don't think so. But I want to say the last time I went, when I covered the one in Vegas, I believe it was, I got a phone call on Friday asking if I wanted to go. And I was like, sure, I guess. And then I flew out on Monday to cover the week of Super Bowl. There's a lot of finances that go into it, so I'd have to, I'm not good at sales, so it'd be a matter of getting sponsors for the week and getting some extra money towards that, and it's not like it costs a lot, but I'd find a hotel and shit like that, or stay on somebody's couch. I'm sure there's somebody out there that I could stay on your couch. Yes, particularly an older lady. I'm just throwing that out there, ladies. I can cook, clean, clothing optional. Connery, Jesus Christ, we're not whoring ourselves. Well, actually, anyway, no. So there's a lot. I'm leaning on no, I won't, but I'm not gonna close the door on it. But we'll see. Again, disappointed with the Broncos, but whatever. It's not good. Don't let it ruin your fucking day. Don't. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful day. Let's continue to move forward. I'll talk to you next time.